So, in the South Korean investigators are firm on executing the warrant, saying Yoon's voluntary appearance is not on the table. We turn to Professor Paik Eun-seok to discuss more. Good morning.
Very good morning to you.
So Yoon's lawyer says he's holding negotiations with investigators over Yoon's voluntary appearance. But according to the investigators, that's not an option at all.
Right. Negotiating whether President Yoon will appear voluntary or not should have taken place earlier. Once the court issues arrest warrant, the question is whether the warrant is to be executed or not. And the investigators are already there to execute the warrant, so a voluntary appearance is not an option at this stage.
Right. Investigators are saying that they've been fed up with all the trials that they've gone through before. Now, investigators on President's side are also negotiating the process of executing the actual warrant. What options and negotiating deals are they discussing here?
Once again, once the warrant is issued, the question is only about whether the warrant is to be executed or not, and it has to be executed. So what seems to be proposed by the president's side is not timely at this stage. Now, once arrest warrant is to be executed, what follows is for the president to move to CIO office in Gwacheon. And probably there is some room for negotiating in terms of what follows, given President Yoon being president, whether he should be treated somewhat differently. But at the same time, this is a country of rule of law, so everyone has to be equal before the law. So I think that there's some room for negotiating the exact form of procedure to follow. But executing the warrant itself at this stage is not an option at all.
Well, Professor Paik, this is the country's leader we're talking about. I mean, will he be treated any differently during the process of being detained and also being taken to the CIO's office after being detained for questioning?
Once again, once the arrest warrant is executed, then the CIO should seek or should decide whether to seek detention warrant. So arrest is being done at this stage, and then detention is the next step. And there is some room for negotiating whether president is to be detained at CIO office for further investigation, or once he is arrested, whether detention is to be sought or not. I think that there is room for negotiating over that very matter. But once again, as I mentioned earlier, this is a country of rule of law. Everyone has to be equal before the law. So given that President Yoon is a president, there may be some factors to consider, but at the same time, the overall procedure has to be executed equally for everybody, I suppose.
Okay, then Yoon will be taken to the CIO's office in Gwacheon once he's detained for questioning. Now, he will be questioned for up to 48 hours, right? Let's talk about the process in detail after, how Choi Min-jung reported on that.
Yeah, once again, there are two stages. One is arrest, the next one is detention. So what is being done is whether to arrest President Yoon, which is being done now. And once arrest is made, President Yoon will be taken to CIO office in Gwacheon. And then within the 48 hours, the CIO has to decide whether to seek detention warrant. And once detention warrant is issued, then President Yoon will stay in the CIO office for further investigation. It is up to the CIO whether to seek detention warrant or not. I think that's something that can be negotiated. But once again, President Yoon's voluntary appearance as opposed to arrest is not a live option at this stage. And given what President has been done, which is not very responding to any of the investigators' attempts or efforts, we have to see whether CIO would actually seek, as a next step, detention warrant.
Well, Professor Paik, another major development that happened during this morning is that the police say they secured acting chief of Presidential Security Service Kim Sung-won into custody. Was he really taken into custody?
And again, I'm just following the media coverage of it. It seems that that has not happened yet, but arrest warrant was issued against the official that you just mentioned, who is number 2 man in the PSS, Presidential Security Service.
Right.
What seems to be the biggest difference between this time, the second attempt to arrest President Yoon, and the first time seems to be the change within PSS, Presidential Security Service. As you know, the head of PSS resigned after reporting to CIO voluntarily, and he's cooperating with the police for the investigation. And so the official that you mentioned is a number 2 man, and he is considered to be the most committed in resisting the arrest warrants to be executed. And so arrest warrant for him has already been issued. And there was some report earlier today that he was arrested, but apparently that was not the case. And so the biggest difference this time seems to be what happened within PSS. The first time there was a very strong resistance. And this time it seems that the resistance is much subdued,
Right.
Other than number 2 man being still committed to resisting arrest warrant. But the rest of PSS situation seems to be very different this time. And that seems to be the biggest difference.
Professor Paik, before I let you go, one more question. And I know it's very hard to tell at the moment whether Yoon will actually show up. And now, if he does show up within the day, do you think he'll show up on foot, by car? What method do you think he's considering at the moment?
Maybe that may be the one of the issues that are being negotiated, given he's being president, and also I think one of his main concern is how he would be seen by his supporters.
Right.
And so again, it's hard to tell exactly what will happen, but I guess President Yoon's side would have to. Would like to take advantage of whatever things that he can employ at this stage in order to maintain his image as president, and at the same time sending out a message that he has been sending out, I guess through unofficial channels, that this entire investigation, as well as impeachment proceedings, are unfair, illegal, et cetera, against him. But again, I just hope and really strongly wish that President will do what he has to do. But let me add just one more thing here. Regardless of whether he is arrested or not, whether he's detained or not, the impeachment proceeding will go forward.
Right.
Because President's presence at the impeachment trial is not required. So without his presence, that proceeding will go ahead.
Right, they are 2 different, separate matters, rather. Professor Paik, thank you so much for taking your time to be with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you.